Hi, you're welcome back to this YouTube channel. If you're new to this channel, you are highly welcome. Please do not forget to hit the subscribe button and click on the notification bell to be notified whenever I drop a new video. So in this video, we'll be making this beautiful pleated waist shirt dress. I got the inspiration while scrolling through the streets of Pinterest. I will also be sharing tips on how to get a perfect fit for a budging tummy. So if this is something you're interested in, then keep watching and let's dive right in. Also, do not touch that dial. These are some of the items that you will need. A fabric. You can make use of any fabric of your choice, but I'll be using this crepe material. It's actually 2 yards, so I'll be making use of this crepe material for the tutorial. And then your paper stay, yes, a yard or half yard is okay. This is for the collar to make it firm. So these are the measurements that are required for this tutorial. These are the measurements required: your shoulder, armhole depth, shoulder to underbust, bust circumference, underbust circumference, waist circumference, hip circumference, gown length, biceps, and round sleeve. I'll be drafting on the pattern paper first because this is a tutorial and I would want everyone to understand it. So you can go ahead and draft straight on your fabric if you wish. And also I'll be drafting the back pattern first because the back pattern is going to serve as the foundation to draft at the front. So let's dig in. Firstly, you divide your shoulder measurements by 2 and then you impute what you've got. So after dividing mine by 2, I got 7 inches, which I've marked out. Then I added half an inch for sewing allowance, like so. Then I'll come down by 1 inch for shoulder slope. And then for the neck width, I'll go ahead and mark out 3 inches. So I'm drafting out the normal back neckline. So 3 inches for the neck width, and for the neck depth, I'll mark out 1 inch. So I'm going to connect the neck width to the neck depth by drawing a curve like so. Then I'll connect this 1 inch I came down with at the slope to the neck width like this to draw this, get the slant. After doing this, next is to mark out my armhole depth, which is 8 inches. To get your armhole depth, divide your bust measurement by 6 and add 1.5 inches. So I'll go ahead and connect like so. Then on this point, I'll divide my bust circumference by 4 inches and I'll mark it out. My bust circumference is 39 divided by 4 gives me 9.75, which I will go ahead and mark out. Then moving on, I'll connect to this point like this. Now, after doing this, I'll go ahead and draw my armhole curve. So I'm drawing both the front and the back armhole curve to save us time. So I'll go ahead and find the midpoint of this, my armhole depth, which is 4 inches. And then I'll come in by half an inch. So I'll go ahead and connect this point to this point and to this point to give me my front armhole curve. So I'll go ahead and draw my connection like this. If you don't have your curve rule, you can use your hand to draw the curves like this. It's easy. So I'm just going to go ahead and indicate that this is my front armhole curve so we don't get confused. Now for the back armhole curve, you just have to connect this to this. That's just it. So go ahead and do that. Just connect this to this. That's it. Now after doing this, the next thing is to go ahead and mark out our shoulder to underbust. So my shoulder to underbust is 14.75, which I have gone ahead to mark out. 14.75. So you go ahead and mark out your shoulder to underbust. So I'll go ahead and roll the straight line across it like so. And I'll just indicate my underbust line. To get your waistline, mark 3 inches from your underbust line. To get your waistline, 3 inches from your underbust line gives you your waistline. So this is my waistline that I've marked out. I'll go ahead and, rule across it like so, and then indicate my waistline. Now to get your hip line, 9 inches from your waistline give you your hip line. 9 inches gives you your hip line, 9 inches from your waistline. So that is what I am marking out. So you go ahead and do that, please. And then I'll just rule a straight line across it like this to mark out the hip line. So this is my hip line. Now at this point, I was contemplating how short I want my gown to be. This was quite difficult for me to decide on. So I just, initially just left it at 39 inches. Later on, I decided, okay, I'm comfortable with 35 inches for the gown shortness, because obviously this gown is a very short gown. So go ahead and decide how short you want your gown to be and mark it out. But take note, it is a short gown. I later concluded on 35 inches for my gown length, and I added 1 inch for hemming allowance, so making it 36 inches that I marked out in total for the gown length. So moving on, please note that this line is also referred to as your chest line. So on this chest line, you go ahead and divide your bust circumference by 4. After dividing mine by 4, which is 9.75, I added 2 inches for sewing allowance. So the next thing is, on your under bust line, you divide your under bust circumference by 4 as well and mark it out. So my under bust circumference is 33 inches divided by 4 gives me 8.5 inches. I'll go ahead and mark out the 8.5 inches. So I'll add 6 inches, because if you look at the style, it is from the under bust that the pleating starts from. So because of that, we'll be adding 6 inches from this under bust line. I hope you do understand. On the waistline as well, you divide your waist circumference by 4 and mark it out. You also add 6 inches allowance to it as well. On your hip line, you divide your hip circumference by 4 as well. So for me, after dividing by 4, I have 10.25, which I have marked out. You also had 6 inches allowance as well. Then at the full length, at the gown length, you can go ahead and just measure out what you have on your hip line and mark it out on your gown length like this. So I'll just go ahead and extend these lines like so. So you can see that we started adding 6 inches from the under bust, because that is where the pleating or that starts from. So that's just the reason why from the under bust you need that much excess allowance. So that's just it. So just go ahead and connect like so, and like so. I'll go ahead and cut like so. And I'll cut out only the back armhole curve. Now to get that beautiful curve that the shirt dress has at the down, all you have to do is go up by 2 inches on that side, go up by 2 inches here, and then you curve it down to the gown length like so. You curve it back to the gown length and then you cut. Now this curve gives the shirt dress a very beautiful look. One more thing, if you desire this flare effect on your gown, just go ahead from your hip line, just draw your shape like this. That is it. That's just a simple logic. Then you go up by 2 inches and then you curve it back like so. You go up by 2 inches and then you curve it like so back to the gown length. So that's just it. It gives you that sharp effect, but for me, I don't want that. Moving on, I'll go ahead and cut out my fabric using this back pattern I have drafted out. So I have cut out the back part of my fabric, and I will just take off the pattern paper so you see it. This is it. So for the front pattern, we'll just alter a few things on the pattern paper. We'll just alter a few things, and the only thing we're going to alter is the neck depth. we only make use of 1 inch for the back neck depth. So for the front, we're making use of 3 inches, and I've marked that out. I'll go ahead and draw a curve like this. And I'll go ahead and cut this out. And I will also cut out the front armhole curve like so. Next, I'll bring in my fabric and fold it. So I have folded the fabric, as you can see, and please make sure the wrong side is facing you. So I'll go ahead and place the altered pattern paper on it like so. Now note that the front part of this shirt dress has a button at the front. So for that, we're going to be leaving 2.5 inches at the front for the button placket. So I'll just go ahead and measure 2.5 inches, and then I'll place my pattern paper from that 2.5 inches and pin down the pattern paper on the fabric. So I'm just going to make sure I have 2.5 inches at the center front all through. So this 2.5 inches, like I earlier explained, is for the button placket at the center front. So you can see it's 2.5 all through. Next, I will just extend this neckline curve like this. I'll extend it like this, and after extending, we'll go ahead and pin down the rest part of the pattern paper on the fabric. So whichever part you do not understand, just drop your question in the comment section, and I'll try as much as possible to respond to you. So go ahead and cut this out. We'll cut like so. Please watch closely how I am cutting this out. And also open up the center front like this. Do not forget to notch your button placket where the 2.5 inches stops, so that you know where it stops. You can go ahead and remove your pins, remove your pattern from the fabric. So our front pattern is ready, and this is it. And don't forget to indicate the wrong side of your fabric like this. Now it's time to sew. So the first step in sewing is to sew this button placket. So for that, all you have to do is to fold in 1/2 inch like this, and then fold it over like this to meet that 2.5 inches. That is that place you notch, and then you stitch it to the down. You fold in 1/2 inch and fold in like this. So invariably you have 1 inch for your button placket after stitching down. So I will do that now and bring it back. So this is it, guys. I have stitched down the button placket. You can see how beautiful it is looking. And please do not forget to iron. You have to iron it. It is very, very important, very necessary. Next step, we'll go ahead and place the button placket on each other. We're going to temporarily pin it down. So go ahead and pin it down. It's like you're assuming you are putting buttons, but in this case we are not putting buttons yet. So this is just a temporary way of holding it together. After doing this, we'll go ahead and flip it over to the wrong side. So flip it over to the wrong side like so. And the next thing is to go ahead and mark out your shoulder to under bust measurement. So my shoulder to under bust measurement is 14.75. So I'll just mark that out like this. And also mark out my waistline, which is 3 inches from the under bust line. I'll repeat the same process on the other side. If you did enjoy this video, and if this video was helpful to you, please do well to hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. So I'll go ahead and use my rule to extend the lines like this. So because of how detailed the sewing part of this tutorial is. I had to make a separate video for it, so I'll just drop the link on the description box. So see ya on my next video. Love ya. Mwah.